I describe visionaries as a thoroughbred racehorse.
Yeah.
You put them out in the field, they're going to run, they're going to zigzag, they're going to trample over everybody that comes in their way, even inadvertently.
Hello and welcome to Center for Victory's podcast of Your Best Day Yet. At Center for Victory, we're here to help unlock, reinforce, and enrich relationships through personal professional development. I'm Eric Guy, Chief Victory Officer here at the Center for Victory. With us today is a gentleman from down in Alabama, Mr. Forrest Derr, who began his entrepreneurial journey with a paper route, learning sales, operations, and customer service. We're going to get into and unpack all kind of things today. But Forrest, welcome to the show. Appreciate you being on.
Happy to be here. Appreciate the invite.
So give us some more background. Like I have a list of things here, but I know you founded and sold your first company, right? Is that right?
There was a company that I founded and sold during my journey while I was at a furniture company. Yes.
Yeah. So walk us through all that and give us
Yeah,
your background because that'll make sense for people because of what you do now.
sure. So yeah, started with a paper route to finish that little bit of a story. Needed money to buy a car, so why not do a paper route? And back, I'm probably dating myself, but back then you could actually be a paper route as a 14-year-old kid on a bicycle. So that's what I
Hmm.
did. Learned how to collect money and sell and deliver product, and that was a cool experience. And then I started working in a grocery store, and then went to college and did the college thing, which that's a whole nother podcast episode on how bad my college experience was of a student I was. Um, but I started working at a office furniture and supply company down here in Alabama as I was close to graduating from college. And through that process, learned operations, sales, marketing, how to hire and fire people. And around 2000, I started a website business and built up a website business because I built the first website for the office furniture company and was like, this is kind of easy. I can do this for other businesses. So while I was full time there, I started building websites in the evenings and did that for about 2.5 years. And I wasn't making a killing, but was at an inflection point. Do I go full time in that business, or do I stay with my stable and safe full time job? And was in a unique opportunity with the owner of the furniture company where I told him, openly and honestly what I was considering. And he just said, well, why don't I just buy it from you? And you can still run it, but just run it as a part of this company. And I'm like, why didn't I think of that? That's a great idea. So I ended up selling the website design and hosting business to an office furniture company of all places.
Wow.
And we ran that for 5 more years as a separate division, and then ended up spinning it off and selling it to somebody else. So that was my
Wow.
first mergers and acquisitions experience.
Wow. That's so what was it like in college? You weren't a stellar student?
No, so I was going to University of Delaware, and I politely and accurately tell everybody I was registered for class for 2 years. I
Yeah.
successfully registered, but did not quite attendance was not quite on my priority list, and so what ended up happening is I got addicted to playing billiards, and so I played pool all through college, and that was my downfall for
Did
education.
okay, but did you get good at it?
I did. I did pretty well. I got 10th place in the International Collegiate Tournament back in 1994, and so that was the pinnacle of my career in billiards.
Do you still play?
I gave it up for about 25 years.
Oh wow.
Cold turkey. I had to stop because I was too hooked on it, and
Oh
I
man.
did pick it up a little bit. I ended up getting a pool table at my house a couple of years ago, and it's not the same. I enjoy it now. I was very driven to play pool before. I was very obsessive about it when I used to do it. So
Wow.
yeah,
So what are you doing now?
yeah. So I have transitioned through a couple of different roles. I was 18 years at the office furniture company, and then I left there to join a very small telecom company where I was the seventh employee. And so I joined that company And we grew to, I think, 26 employees when I left after about 8.5 years, and left that company and went to a landscaping company. And I tell everybody that I was positioning myself to be able to be a fractional chief operating officer, which is what I'm doing now. So what I do right now is I work with, currently I have 6 clients, and I work with them either one day a week or one day every 2 weeks or one day a month to help them organize and structure their business. Some people call me a fractional COO. Some people call me a fractional integrator. If you're an EOS minded person, you'd call me a fractional integrator. And I work with companies all over the country right now.
Yeah, that's something that a lot of our clients are asking about because they're what we do on the back end.
Yeah.
We do have a lot of clients who use EOS, and we've recommended that to them because they obviously they need somebody that does what you and other people do, but to
Yeah.
have that fractional piece can be, at least from my perspective, you could speak more on it, but that is a huge game changer when you can bring somebody like yourself into that and you don't have the capacity
Yeah.
as a smaller company to be able to afford that. Now you've got the expertise. Is that the same way you're seeing it?
Yeah, absolutely. And so many companies will invest in EOS. So one of my first clients that started with in January, they brought me in. They have an implementer. They continue to have an implementer that helps them run their quarterly meetings and their annual meetings, but they were just still struggling to get EOS driven throughout the organization. And so they contracted me to come in and help them do that. And the best testimonial I've gotten so far in my short 6 months of doing this was, he said, "Hey, my phone stopped ringing about
Yeah.
2 months in," and his phone was ringing over and over again from employees. And we built the structure and accountability out to where his employees were empowered to make decisions. And that's a real challenge for founders to do that.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, like, where do you see, like, kind of in a range, like 1, 2, 3? What are the kind of the three biggest challenges that you see folks dealing with now that you come in to assist with?
Yeah. One big challenge is accountability, and working with companies that even have 40 and 50 employees, and you go interview and ask people questions. They're like, "Who do you report to?" I report to this person. Well, you find out they really don't report to that person. They report to somebody else. You ask them what their role is, and they tell you what they think their role is, and their boss thinks their role is something different. So just clarifying the accountability chart is a big challenge and a big opportunity. And then I'd say a second one is finance. It boggles my mind how many companies are struggling with knowing their numbers. And I've gone into some very established businesses that have been in business for a number of years and don't have timely financial reports. A lot of companies think that QuickBooks is for their CPA or whatever software it is, and they're waiting on their CPA to produce financial reports. And I was just having a conversation on the call I was on it before. I love CPAs, but CPAs are all about filing taxes. They're not typically about creating useful financial data that allows you to make decisions. So financial reports is definitely the second biggest one. And then the third one is processes. Processes are overcomplicated, or if they're or not documented, or if they're documented, they're in a binder that's 1,000 pages that's in a drawer in the HR department's office that nobody's
No.
seen in 2 years, and then they wonder why they can't deliver consistent service to clients. So anyway, so those are my big three.
Yeah, that's good. Thanks. But I should have gone over again. Can you go over real quick what EOS is? Because
Yeah,
I say it a whole lot,
sure.
but there are some of our listeners that may not know what that is, and it's great to hear it from your perspective because you do it all the time.
Yeah, EOS is a framework operating system for running a business effectively. It helps you build the structure and accountability to make sure that your processes are documented. You have the right people in the right place. and making sure that you're having meetings and regular check-ins with the employees and the teams to where everybody's rowing in the same direction. There's a concept called a VTO, a vision traction organizer, which I know you know what it is.
Yeah.
That vision traction organizer, when I work with a client and find out, hey, we implemented EOS 3 years ago, and I'm like, how's it going? Oh, it's not going great. And I'm like, well, tell me why. And one of the big things I uncover is they don't have an effective VTO. They may
Yeah.
have used an implementer, they may have started it, played around with a VTO, but just didn't actually get it dialed in. They don't have a well-defined target market. Um, when you can walk into a company and ask leadership team members, where is the company going, and they can't answer, that's when you got a problem. And so EOS is, I tell people, it's not revolutionary, it's just good business. But what Gino was a genius about is systematizing good
Yes.
business. So
Boy, what you just said at the end there is like the whole summation of that.
yeah, systemize good business. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to steal that.
You can.
Yeah. Because it is a game changer. It was a game changer for us, even though we had been in business for so long.
Yeah.
Nothing was terrible,
Right.
but man, you didn't know how good it
Could
could
have been.
be.
Yeah. Right.
Right. I mean, when like now some of our rocks are personal.
Yeah.
They're about scheduling vacations and time
Right.
off. And,
Yeah.
you're not frantic about, this, that, or the other thing that's going to happen, that when you leave.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. Yeah, this is, I think we need more of you in the world. Um, but when you're looking at, so part of the framework for EOS is really what you are. And I think that's where, at least from my perspective, from working with smaller companies, a
Mm-hmm.
lot where I recommend EOS, they're trying to look for that implementer and they can't find it. Um, we're not short of the visionary.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I think you meant integrator. They're looking for the
Integrator.
integrator. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
integrator.
Yeah.
And so they're not short of that visionary piece. But like when you come in, how do you help those visionary founders avoid the burnout
Mm,
and still grow their business? Because
yeah.
that's where a lot of people are stuck. I mean, a lot of the
Yeah.
folks that I talk to are really stuck there.
Well, a lot of founders have a job, not a business.
Yes.
And they think they have a business, but then when you start questioning and asking, can you go on vacation for a week? And they're like, heck no, I can't do that. Everything would fall apart. Who's your greatest salesperson? Well, I'm the greatest salesperson. Oh, well, okay. Well, you don't have a business. You've got a job. And so you first have to they first have to identify and acknowledge that they've got a problem,
Mm-hmm.
and that's part of the challenge. Usually I'm getting called in when they've already realized they have a problem, so I don't have to do a lot of convincing, but identifying with them and helping them understand the magic behind that visionary integrated relationship, and helping them define that, hey, it's okay that you have 20 ideas a week, but you can't tell everybody about them. You've got to filter that through an integrator, and you're creating chaos every time you're walking around dropping hand grenades through the office and you don't even know it. So helping them understand what that visionary role is and also what that integrator can do for them is a big part of what I'm doing when I first get started. But you've you know I describe visionaries as a thoroughbred racehorse. You put
Yeah.
them out in the field, they're going to run, they're going to zigzag, they're going to trample over everybody that comes in their way, even inadvertently. But if you get an integrator, or not integrator, you get a visionary that's a racehorse, a thoroughbred racehorse on a track. You put some blinders up on him, you get a jockey that's the integrator that's helping them stay on track. They will run fast and they will be free. Um,
Oh, I
Visionaries a
love that
lot.
analogy.
Yeah. Well, visionaries a lot of times, think that EOS is going to restrict their freedom. And one of my visionaries I work with, he would always tell people that EOS liberated him to do whatever
Yeah.
he wanted. And I would, as the integrator, I would always tell people, EOS put guardrails around him and kept him in his lane. And
Yep.
we're both correct. he was free to do as much as he wanted to do in the direction he wanted to go, but I had the guardrails around him to keep him on track. So
Yeah, that's I love that analogy of that. Man, that's a great analogy too.
Hey everyone, Caleb Kolb here with AMP Adventures. Today we are out in Glacier National Park in Montana. We're just a couple miles south of Canada. There's some beautiful views here. This is Kinnerly Peak, Kitla Peak, Mount Peabody. So it's been a great trip so far. If you're interested on any of our adventures, check out the experiences tab. See you on the trail.
So, what universal truths have you discovered about business operations?
cannot depend on the business owner to do everything. I mean, and helping the business owners determine that they've got to let go of things. Every business owners I've come in contact with and worked with, they all think nobody can do it as good as they can. And they're right. But you have to, as a business owner, accept good enough. You've got to define what that is and accept that people are not going to have the same passion as you do, as much culture as you can build, have great core values, core focus, whatever. It has to be good enough. And so getting those visionaries to understand that, not everybody's going to pick up the phone as fast as you do. Not everybody's going to do whatever. Set standards, of course, set quality standards. But you have to accept that people are going to not do it as good as you are. But your customers may not expect them to do it as good as you do it, right? So,
well, that's good advice.
Yeah.
We've all been through that. I've been through that.
Yeah. And it's tough because I mean, your business is your baby, and you want your customers to be taken care of like you have taken care of them, but you can't scale it. If you want to, be a niche business and solopreneur and have 5 clients, go for it. That's the model you got to stick with. So,
what's the biggest mistake companies make when trying to scale?
Man, not knowing their numbers, I think is probably the biggest mistake I've seen. I go into clients and ask for financial data, ask for how they're selling stuff, and you end up finding out they're selling products to people that they shouldn't because they aren't making money. And so they think they're making money in certain segments, and because that's maybe the higher dollar volume, but they're actually losing money and it's being supported by other segments of the business. So not knowing your numbers is the biggest thing I've seen. It's endemic over and over and over again.
Yeah. Give us an example of like where you stepped in. I'm sure you have several, but like one that comes to mind where you stepped in and it was just very chaotic and then all of a sudden clarity came about. What did that transformation look like?
Yeah, so I had a company that had tried to self-implement a EOS, and I was working with them, building that accountability structure. And one of the meetings, they were hiring people like crazy, just hire, 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 hire. And they said, "Oh, we got to hire a new person to do this." And I said, "Well, why? Let's pause for a second. Why do we need to do that?" And well, this is not being done. And so we walked through the accountability chart and figured out that it was this one person was supposed to be doing it. They were not doing it because they were doing somebody else's job because somebody else was doing that other person's job. And so it was kind of a domino effect. The clarity that came through that of actually pulling that accountability chart that should be a living, breathing document that you reference every time you have a problem with people, we were able to cover that it wasn't we needed to hire somebody. We had to get these 2 people doing their role, and that solved the problem. So from chaos of hiring, now we just got people doing what they're supposed to do, and no hiring was needed. So that's probably one of the big things I've seen is people not looking accurately and effectively at their accountability chart, and then they just have a gut feeling. Oh, we need another technician, or oh, we need another driver. Oh, well, why? Why do you need that? So,
speaking of accountability charts,
yeah,
how do you balance the structure with the flexibility when you build those out?
Yeah, you have to have some structure, and especially on a scaling company. When I'm working with a scaling company, people have to sit in multiple seats. And so build the accountability chart out for the next year, for the next 12 months. What are the seats that you need to have? And you may have somebody sitting in 2 or even 3 seats, but if you will define those seats, that helps you determine, okay, we're at an inflection point. We're struggling in this area. Well, this person's responsible for it. Well, they're also sitting in 2 seats. So we got to go ahead and get another person for that role. So that's a big balance for me, is really defining what the seat is, not thinking about the person, and determining if that role is too big for a person. And then the other one that I learned a long time ago is making sure to put subcontractors on the accountability chart. Put your attorney, put your marketing firm, put your engineer that's outsourced. That is very, very telling to have that, because not that you need to eventually hire a CPA. Let's just use that example. But if you have your outsourced resources on that accountability chart, when you go through right people, right seat in your quarterly meeting, it'll come up. Wait a minute, our CPA is not doing a good job. Why are they not doing a good job? Oh, well, we've outgrown them. Well, let's go get a different CPA. So it just forces you to look through your resources, whether they're 1099 or W-2, to make sure you got the right person in the right seat.
That is a really great tip.
Yeah, that was
really,
I can't take credit for that one, but that was a good one. When I saw it and somebody showed it to me, I was like, oh, man, that's a game changer.
Yeah, that really is taking something else from you too. Yeah, that really is a good tip for people. I mean, I hope people listen to this, and I hope they get it, because what would make me want to bring somebody like you in? Or like what are the signs that say, hey, look, I can't do maybe a COO, but I need to bring somebody like you in? What are the signs that say, that's probably the right decision?
A founder that can't take a vacation, can't take a week off without the world crashing down. A founder that his phone is ringing off the hook with employees because employees can't make decisions. Um, I want founders to be set up to where they're talking to large relationships, vendor relationships, customer relationships. Not that their phone shouldn't be ringing, but their phone should be ringing for opportunities, not problems. And so typically I'm seeing visionaries and founders, they've set up a business, they've grown the business, they've scaled the business, and they've been successful with brute force. There's no other way to put it. Brute force is what's gotten them to where they are. And that is not to discount or discredit anything that they've done, but you reach an inflection point where you can't scale anymore without help. And as you said earlier, there's no shortage of visionaries, but there is a shortage of integrators. Is a shortage of those that are willing to take that second in command seat.
Yeah. What do you think is the most challenging thing for a person that does what you do?
Initially, the most challenging thing when I come into an organization is to make sure people understand that I'm not a threat. The first thing that happens is they're like, "Oh my gosh, here's a consultant. He's going to change everything we're doing, and he doesn't know our business, and he's after my job." And so that's my biggest challenge, is to help people understand, as an integrator, my job is to remove obstacles. And so I look for quick wins of even just minor things that I can adjust, that then give me credit as far as, oh, this guy really is here to remove obstacles. Somebody told me about this, and I have been watching this series now, Ted Lasso, which I don't know if you've ever watched it before, but I saw it, but just didn't resonate. Somebody said, you need to watch it. You need to watch it. And one of the things he did in one of the episodes, one of the early episodes, is he fixed the shower water pressure.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those things. It was a minor thing, but yet it was like, oh, this guy really is here to solve problems and remove obstacles. And so I look very hard in that first couple of weeks where, what are the real small little things that I can do that show minor wins, that show that I'm there to remove obstacles.
Another good piece of advice. Speaking of advice,
Hmm?
What advice do you find yourself almost uniformly giving to visionaries? What's
Mm,
the best advice that you almost give to all the visionaries?
you have to let it go. You have to let it go. As you bring in a fractional COO integrator, um, visionaries have trouble letting go of the vine. They have trouble, allowing things to happen without them. And so I have to encourage them that it's going to be all right. You've built a team, you've built good people. Um, I envision it with companies that all the a lot of the pieces are there. It's just there's knobs that have to be turned. So we just got to tweak knobs here and there. And so I encourage them to say, your business is good. Let's go adjust and fine tune the knobs. Almost like giving your car a tune up. Your car's running, but it's clanking. It's not quite running fuel
Mhm.
efficient. You got seatbelt issue over here, whatever. Let's just go in and make all these little adjustments to get it to where it's dialed in and running smooth. So they have to let it go.
Good stuff. The other question I had, I read this book called The EOS Life.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
And I read that probably about 3 times a year ever since it came out.
yeah. It's a
Um,
good one.
there's five,
Yeah,
kind of five pillars, I would guess, if
yeah.
you're looking at kind of what you want to do. Do you remember those offhand?
Working with people you love, doing things that you love, being fair, compensated fairly with time for other passions. I think is
Yeah. And
I
making
might
a
have been
difference, right?
making a difference, making a huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that possible?
I'm gonna tell you, I did not. So I've read it a couple of years ago when it first
Yeah.
came out, and I've read
Yeah.
it a couple of times since then.
Yeah.
Um, I will tell you what's interesting for me is I thought I was living the EOS life before, and
Uh-huh.
then I moved to the landscape company, and then I was like, I'm living the EOS life now, and then I'm doing what I'm doing right now, and I'm like, now I'm really living the EOS life. So I think it is possible, but I think you can stair step up through it. You think you're being fairly compensated, and then you take another job, and you're like, whoa, I wasn't. This is great. Or you think you're making a huge difference, and then you get another opportunity, and now you're making an even bigger difference. Um,
Yes.
so I mean, I would, if you asked me today, I'd say I'm living the US life, but I bet you there's something else coming that's going to be even more of the US life. So,
Yeah, I'm glad I asked you that question because that's good advice.
yeah,
There is step ups.
yeah,
I just went through a step up myself, and
yeah,
like it's more of what I want to do too.
yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
just greater reward all the way around, and it benefits so many other people.
There's another good book out there. I don't know if you've read 10X is Easier Than 2X by Benjamin Hardy.
Uh-huh.
So that was a book. He was a keynote speaker at
Yep.
the US conferences. That book really rocked my world, changing the mindset of if you want to 10X your life, the decisions are easier because there's less options. I mean,
Yeah.
it is. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just
That's true.
if you want to be a 2X tennis player, there's 100 coaches you can hire. If you want to
Mhm.
be a 10X tennis player, there's only one or two coaches. So it minimizes the decisions that you got to make, which reduces the paralysis by analysis. So that's another good book. You ought to put that on your reading list.
Yes, sir. Good one for sure. Last question,
Yep.
because it's called your best day yet. We ask this of all our guests.
Yeah.
How would you it's going to be great listening to what your answer is here. I'm actually excited about it. How would you describe your best day yet?
My best day yet was I left the landscaping company, and I was going to take 2 months off to decide what I wanted to do, whether I wanted to go ahead and jump into the full time arena or the fractional arena, or whether I wanted to find another full time job. And I met with 3 clients and had 3 sign in 2 days to fill my calendar up. And that was in December, right before Christmas. And that was my best day yet, where I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to do this. Just everybody has imposter syndrome, and can I really do this? Would I be able to make a difference? And the ability to turn that around that quickly, and have the business be able to start up that quick. I mean, literally first week in January, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I had my first 3 clients, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my best day.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thanks for being on here. I feel like this is the start of a bond. I feel like I'm going to be calling you off air too
Let's do it. Yeah.
for guidance and things too, because I love what you're doing. I really believe in the process because we've been helped by it tremendously, tremendously,
Yeah.
tremendously. I wouldn't be able to do the things. I wouldn't have this podcast
Yeah.
without that. Like
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it, and what's funny about the podcast for us is how well they're doing. But uh, my first rock around a podcast was if I could get 3 done in a quarter.
Oh wow. Yeah. Yeah.
And now we do one every week.
Yeah.
And it's
Well, I
just
tell
crazy.
everybody, especially with EOS, I'm like, your scorecard's going to suck the first time you do it. Your rocks are going to suck. Everything's going to suck. You just got to start and just
Yeah.
start working. And that's what you've done. So congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
And thanks for the advice. Thanks for the inspiration. And I know we'll be talking again soon.
Appreciate it.
All right. That's a wrap for today, guys. You can visit us for more information at centerforvictory.com. And just remember, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, make this your best day yet. We'll see you soon.